Alright guys, Fulham have just beaten Brighton by 2 goals to 1, and I have to say I actually saw this coming. I predicted 2-1 Fulham in my predictions for this week's games, and yeah, Fulham just have a playing style which really doesn't suit Brighton. They're very energetic, very quick to press Brighton down, keep the ball in Brighton's half is what they try to do, and they are very quick on the counter attack when Brighton have got the ball in their half and they do win it back. Um, Alexander Mitrovic was on another level tonight. He's having an amazing season so far. He had a great year last year as well, scoring 43 goals. But so far this season, he's managing to keep up the scoring rate of a goal per game because he's scored 5 in 5 now. The first half, it wasn't the most exciting game ever. Brighton, I can only really think of one chance them getting, and that was a Solly March header, which he should have done better with, and should have got it on target, definitely. But Fulham, they were getting more attempts off on goal, it felt like, but at the same time, they weren't creating too much either, really. But in the second half, Fulham just stepped it up a notch and caught Brighton half asleep at times. They got the opening goal from a mishit Niskan's Cabano shot, which fell right into the path of Mitrovic, who had an empty, well, virtually empty goal to aim at. So did what he's been doing so far this season. And yeah, made it 1-0. And then the second goal, there's nothing Brighton can really do about that. It is a free goal. Lewis Dunk's done, well, tried to just block across and sent it goalwards, and it's just gone along the floor. Robert Sanchez has already gone to position himself, had for the cross coming in towards Mitrovic, so he has the best chance possible of saving it. So yeah, that was just very unlucky on Brighton's part. But to be fair to Brighton, they got back into it. They managed to get a penalty straight away, and it was Purvis Stupinan who actually won the penalty. It was really good thinking from him to just get his leg in front of Bobby Decordova-Reid to get the ball first, knowing Decordova-Reid's going to kick through, and they got the penalty, and McAllister finished it off. And that came moments after Stupinan, I think, was a little bit at fault for the second goal. Obviously, it was an own goal, and I've just said it was very unlucky, but he had the ball in Fulham's half and sort of dallied on it a little bit and allowed Fulham to win the ball back. And yeah, that started the counter attack, and it was a good counter attack, and they managed to somehow get a goal from it. Quite fortunate, I will say, but nonetheless, they deserved it the way they were playing. But what did impress me is, even though Brighton, it wasn't their night, I thought Graham Potter did make some very smart changes at times. In the first half, Fulham looked like they were just going to rip Brighton to shreds in the first 15 minutes of the game, and Potter made a change of the system he was playing, went from a 3 at the back to a 4 at the back, pushing Veltman from a centre back out to a full back, and moving Solly March further up the pitch, and that made everything start going Brighton's way in the first half. But the second half, Brighton just didn't start well enough, and that cost them the game ultimately. But they made a few changes, Brighton, at around the hour mark, and I can understand why Danny Welbeck didn't start the game. I mean, with his injury problems, he's not a player you want to be playing twice a week, so I completely understand that. But the problem Brighton then have is that the fact that they've sold Neil Maupay now, they haven't actually got a backup striker really, so they were playing it's sort of Trossard in a wide forward role, and then Gross and McAllister sort of switching between who goes the furthest forward. So they didn't really have a proper striker playing throughout most of the game, and that was part of their downfall. Because as soon as Danny Welbeck came on, that's when they started to get a bit of control in the game. And yeah, that's probably what should have happened from the start of the game. They needed someone up there, but they haven't got the players. Well, they haven't got the player to do that as a backup to Danny Welbeck, which is a problem for Brighton. Which, well, having said that, they have supposedly got a couple of young players, but they need to like just take a gamble, if anything, because it is better to have someone up there than no one. But Fulham absolutely deserved the win. Brighton probably, if you look at the possession statistics, I'd imagine they were probably the more dominant side. But obviously, football is about what you do with the ball, not about how much of the ball you have. And Fulham certainly did a lot more with the ball. Mitrovic was absolutely superb, same as the midfield trio of Harrison Reed, João Paulinho, and Andreas Pereira. They all worked their asses off, and that's and managed to just get the ball forward very quickly to start attacks, to get Mitrovic and Decordova-Reid and Cabano on their way to create chances and try to score goals. And defensively as well, even at the end of the game, Fulham showed that they were quite compact, which is a criticism a lot of people were giving to Fulham at the start of the season, saying things like Tim Ream and Tosin Adarabioyo, they're not Premier League level defenders, which, yeah, Tim Ream's had a couple of shaky seasons in the past for Fulham. Both seasons they went up and straight back down again. But so far this season, he started off quite solid, and both of the fullbacks, Kenny Tete and Anthony Robertson, they both had solid games as well. And Bernd Leno, we know he's definitely a good enough keeper to be in the Premier League. So it is looking really, really good for Fulham right now. The only question I have over them is possibly the squad depth, because if Mitrovic gets suspended, because let's face it, he is a bit hot-headed at times, and is likely to get a red card at some point throughout the season, or if he picks up an injury, or say Paulinho, Pereira, or someone like that just picks up an injury, have they got the players to come in and replace them? That is the big question for Fulham. And but so far they've got 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss. So that is 8 points from 5 games. That is more than they would have hoped for. Like at the start of this season, especially having already played some pretty tricky games against Liverpool and Arsenal as well. And they were quite unlucky in that Arsenal game as well, because you got to remember both of Arsenal's goals came from fortunate circumstances. The Odegaard shot did take a big deflection, and the winner from Gabriel, that just came from it was a very scrappy goal, and it just came from a momentary lapse in judgment from Bernd Leno. So yeah, it's looking really good for Fulham. For Brighton, I think it's just a one-off. They've had a superb start to the season, winning 3 of their first 5 games and drawing 1 of the other games. This was their first loss this season, so they're on 10 points from 5, which is 2 points per game. So if they keep that up for the rest of the season, they'll finish on 76 points, which is usually enough to get a Champions League place. So yeah, I wouldn't feel too downhearted if I was a Brighton fan. It is definitely not panic stations, especially considering they've already played some good sides as well. Man United, a team in the Europa League. West Ham, a team in Europe in the Conference League. Who else they played? Newcastle, a team who are going to be pushing for a European place. And Leeds as well, who've also made a very good start to the season. So yeah, for both sides, it's still very positive, I still believe. But Fulham would have winners on tonight's game. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, and also congratulations to the referee tonight, because I've forgotten his name, which isn't good, but it was his first game in the Premier League as a referee, and I thought he did a solid job. He, he missed the penalty, but I didn't even notice it in real time watching it. So like he corrected it. So fair enough. He had a solid game. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.